Oh shit. Bobby Lake.
Good morning, everyone. This is the February 16th, 2024 Peace Officer Standard Training Commission meeting. And as sort of a point of personal privilege, I'd like us all to remember this morning the loss both in Blount County and Meigs County of two of our colleagues who have lost their life in the line of duty. And now the adoption of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
Motion approved.
Do I have a second?
Commissioner Wright, second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. The agenda is adopted. And now roll call, please.
Commissioner Beverly. Here. Commissioner Cherry. Here. Commissioner Green. Commissioner Halsey. Commissioner Jackson. Here. Commissioner Jeffers. Here. Commissioner Parton. Here. Commissioner Russell. Commissioner Spangler. Commissioner Wright. Here. Vice Chair Carter. Here. Chair Faulkner.
Here, do we have everyone we need?
Yes, you have.
We have the quorum. All right, Mr. Secretary, if we can have the disclaimer.
All post commissioners have previously agreed to recuse themselves from any vote that would constitute a conflict of interest. The most obvious of these would include issues that involve their own departments or some that they know personally. Because they've already agreed to this, it should be noted that on routine matters, it will be assumed non-verbally that these commissioners have abstained from that vote. In bigger, more controversial issues that may have a more overt conflict of interest, that may have an appearance of impropriety, those applicable commissioners will still verbally abstain from those votes.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. And now if everyone has read the minutes from the last meeting, the December 15, 2023 meeting, do I have a motion to approve or disapprove?
Motion.
Motion to approve, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion to approve in a second. The minutes are adopted for December 15, 2023. And now a report for decertification subcommittee hearing held February 15, 2024.
Thank you very much. So we will start with those that appeared yesterday. Colin Berryhill from the Memphis Police Department. The informal subcommittee took no action on that at the request of the Memphis Police Department. Adrian T. Blakes of the Memphis Police Department. That matter before post was placed into a suspended status. Demetrius A. Walker of the Memphis Police Department was voted for decertification. the issue with Michael J. Hansen in the Oak Ridge Police Department. The informal subcommittee voted for decertification there. Smyrna Police Department and Tyler Emmons. No action was taken in that. Request by Smyrna PD to withdraw in that particular case. Tennessee Department of Safety, Patrick G. Hubbard. He will be back in May. That has been placed in suspended status until that time. Michael B. Riley of the Tennessee Department of Safety, the informal subcommittee took no action. And with the Tullahoma Police Department, Tyler Milliken, that was referred to the full commission. And William E. Hawkins of the Wilson County Sheriff's Office, that was passed on to March for another informal hearing. Benjamin Moore of the Ashland City Police Department, David Osment of the Dyersburg Police Department, Stephen Short of the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office, Aaron Davis of the Memphis Police Department, Jeremy Dotson of the Memphis Police Department, Delvin Green of the Memphis Police Department, Marquise Wright of the Metropolitan Nashville Airport Police Department, Traveris Hockett of the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department, Colton Taylor of the Perry County Sheriff's Office, Orlando Faison of the Shelby County Sheriff's Office, Jeremy Singleton of the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, Keith Garrett of the Tennessee Department of Safety, Ronnie Parnell of the Tennessee Department of Safety, and William Wagner of the Washington County Sheriff's Office were all not present and were all decertified by default by the informal committee. And we also have two surrenders that were listed as well that we'll go ahead and get legal to discuss as well.
Yes, Wesley P. Chambers was an officer that was arrested for an incident on July 18th of 2021. He was terminated in September of 21. He pled guilty in December of 2023 to simple assault and official misconduct in Hamilton County with a plea condition to surrender his post certificate. We have that complete paperwork, and his post certificate needs to be surrendered. He was an employee of the police department.
I'd like to ask our paralegal, can you hear us okay? Okay, thank you. All right, does that complete the report?
We also have a Brandon Patterson who has agreed, who has signed an agreed order to surrender his post certificate. I'm not remembering what department he was from.
Pikeville.
From the Pikeville Police Department. Brandon Patterson has agreed to surrender his post certificate.
That is the report of the informal subcommittee for decertification.
Okay, is there a motion to approve or disapprove?
Motion to approve. Commissioner Wright, second.
Motion to approve and a motion to second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, moving on. Appearing before the commission.
The Blount County Sheriff's Office requests a military discharge waiver for Andrew James Bowser. In June of 2013, Mr. Bowser was discharged from the United States Army with an under honorable conditions general discharge for misconduct.
Anyone from Blount County appearing either online or in person?
Yes, ma'am. Lieutenant Josh Blair with the Blount County Sheriff's Office Training Academy.
Okay, what else would you like to inform the commission about this situation?
Mr. Bowser is an employee of Blount Memorial Hospital, which we train a lot of their folks. They attend our academy, which we have that waiver from this commission to do. And he has an other than honorable discharge. And we and his agency are requesting waiver on that.
Any questions by the commissioners? Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve this request and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. Did you hear us there?
Yes,
Online?
ma'am.
Where are you?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you,
All
Mr.
right.
Chairman. Thank you, Commission.
Thank you. Bluff City Police Department.
The Bluff City Police Department requests a criminal waiver for Joshua David Holzclaw. January 1, 2024 and May 2006, Mr. Holzclaw was charged with operating a vessel while intoxicated in Camden County, Missouri. In September 2006, Mr. Holzclaw pled guilty and was convicted of the charge. Mr. Holzclaw has since satisfied all court-ordered sentencing fines and fees.
All right. Is Bluff City Police Department represented? Thank you. Would you please identify yourself?
Lieutenant Shane Watson, from Bluff City Police Department.
And who do you have with you?
This is Mr. Josh Hopesclaw. Bluff City Police Department hired him job on January 1 of this year. On the grantee of the waiver, he will be going to the academy. I'll be making phone calls first thing Monday morning if we can get this waiver.
All right, questions from the commissioners?
Motion to approve. Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Lieutenant, did you make the second? She's looking. To see.
Yes, sir. I did.
All right, did we get a vote on that? All in favor, by say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, there you go, Lieutenant.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Chattanooga Police Department requests reconsideration of a criminal waiver for Jeremy Chad Yates, hired July 8th, 2016. In December 2021, Mr. Yates was charged with driving under the influence in Hamilton County, Tennessee. November of 2022, Mr. Yates pled guilty and was convicted of the charge. Mr. Yates has since satisfied all court-ordered sentencing fines and fees.
Chattanooga, are you, there you are.
Good morning.
Please identify yourself.
So I'm John Chambers, an Assistant Chief with the Chattanooga Police Department.
All right, thank you for being here. Who do you have with you?
I have Officer Jeremy Yates.
Tell us what we need to know about this.
Well, first, thank you all very much for the opportunity to be here again this morning. I'm here on behalf of Chief Murphy, as well as the Chattanooga Police Department as a whole, to request a reinstatement in this criminal waiver for Officer Jeremy Yates. Officer Yates has been a police officer with the city of Chattanooga since July of 2016, of which he has earned himself the right to be known as a selfless servant. During his time with us, he has been recognized for several meritorious acts, to include the life-saving medal, commendations for saving a 5-month-old that was a kidnapping victim, the Victim Services Award for his work serving the victims of the community of Chattanooga, as well as he was recognized as Officer of the Month for the National Law Enforcement Memorial Foundation. Unfortunately, as you all know, on December 2nd, 2021, he made an extremely poor decision. He was involved in a traffic crash in which he was subsequently arrested for DUI. Since that time, Officer Yates has completed a 6-week inpatient program at Warriors Heart. He continues to work for the Chattanooga Police Department. He's done so in a non-enforcement capacity. And at no time has he made any excuse for his actions. He has taken extreme ownership in every step of what occurred that night, and he has taken steps moving forward to ensure that never happens again. In addition to that program that he completed, he has been 100% alcohol-free since that incident, and he has given his oath to us that will never cross his lips again. He recognizes his mistakes. We, as a community and as an entity, recognize his value to us, and we are just here on his behalf that you would please grant this so that he can continue to serve his community.
Questions from the commission? Do you see any issues with him trying to make a DUI arrest himself back in the field?
I could definitely see how that would be a challenge. It would absolutely be something that would be attacked. I believe that his record moving forward would also be relevant. When I say his record, I mean the steps that he has taken. He also has hopes that if this is granted, to establish a program within the city of Chattanooga, and maybe it grows from there, but to offer peer support specific to substances, and how that can easily weave in to our daily lives whenever we're subjected to so much, just vicarious trauma. I can't, to answer your question, I can't see how that would be a challenge. I do not see that would be something that would completely prevent him from doing his job.
Commissioner Jeffers, was the vehicle accident that was part of this what was the condition? Was there other people involved, or was it a single vehicle accident?
It was 2 vehicles. There were minor injuries to the one driver of that vehicle as well as to Officer Yates.
Other questions? Has the DA of Hamilton County been notified that he wants to be recommissioned and how that may or may not impact any arrests that he makes?
The DA was notified whenever he did plead guilty, and that is part of his ownership. He didn't try to fight anything, not only in the criminal case, but also in the disciplinary review hearing. So she has been notified of his situation. There was nothing communicated in return that we recognized as presenting an issue for her when it comes to prosecuting that type of case.
He'll be assigned to patrol, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Beverly, was this his first arrest for DUI in his life?
In his life, you would like to speak to that? Or do you, I'll be happy to answer that.
I guess so. Maybe let's hear from him.
I had previously been arrested for DUI back like almost 20 years ago. It was an arrest, not a conviction. It ended up being dismissed. So,
Okay. Outright dismissed.
yes, sir.
Okay. I commend you on the efforts on your sobriety.
Thank you very much. It's been a learning experience.
Do I have a motion or any other questions?
Commissioner Beverly, I want to second, I commend you on, your journey for sobriety. I can't imagine how difficult that is, but due to the recency and not being the first time that this has popped up, I feel like motion to deny is appropriate.
Do we have a second?
Commissioner Wright, second.
And we have a motion to disapprove this request and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion denied.
Thank you for your time.
Hamilton County Sheriff's Office requests a criminal waiver for Alexander Fritz Mint, hired December 13th, 2023 and May of 2014. He was charged with an alcohol beverage control law violation, minor and open container in Fredonia, New York. In June of 2014, he received a second charge of ABC violation, minor in Little Valley, New York. He has since satisfied all court-ordered sentencing fines and fees.
Okay, so you're representing Hamilton County?
Yes, ma'am.
Please identify yourself.
Jeremy Durham, Sergeant over Training and Professional Development in GDI for Hamilton County.
Okay, and this with you?
This is Mr. Minty.
What else would you like the commissioners to know about this request?
We actually, when we were doing the pre-employment background check, this stuff didn't actually pop up on his triple I or anything else. When we were running the background, none of it came. He basically, being honest, he disclosed this to us during the actual in-person background portion. So we wouldn't have actually found it had he not admitted to it and told us what had happened. And we took a little bit of time to get all the court records from New York, but we were able to get those and we submitted everything to you guys from there.
How old were you when this occurred?
I was 18.
And how old are you now?
29.
29?
Yes, ma'am.
We had any more issues with alcohol?
No.
Questions by the commissioners? Motion,
Motion to approve.
is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of the motion to approve, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Jacksboro Police Department requests reconsideration of a criminal waiver for Benjamin Thomas Lake Evans. In April of 2017, Mr. Evans was charged with DUI in Claiborne County, Tennessee. In August of 2018, Mr. Evans pled guilty and was convicted of the charge. Mr. Evans has since satisfied all court-ordered sentencing, fines, and fees.
Yes, sir. Are you representing Jonesboro Police Department?
Jacksboro Police Department,
I'm
yes, ma'am.
sorry, Jackson.
My name is Daniel Smith. I'm the chief of Jacksboro.
Thank you, Chief. And who's with you?
This is Mr. Evans.
All right. What would you like us to know about this? Anything any further?
Mr. Evans, has had a bad luck when he done this. I mean, he did not try to deny anything. He has done everything above and beyond to make things right. I also have a letter from the district attorney, the acting district, that he asked that I present to you. He was going to be here himself today. he was not able to attend due to being in Fentress County for a grand jury. May I present you with this?
Investigator Creek.
This occurred in 2017, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So what are your habits now as far as alcohol?
I don't have any habits. I don't drink alcohol at all.
Any questions from the commissioners?
I can honestly say that I do not condone what happened, and if I did not think he was a changed individual, I would not be here before you today.
Was there a crash involved at all?
There was a minor accident, yes.
Hurt? Any other questions?
Commissioner Wright, when was this originally brought before the committee before?
Looks like it came before us in August of 2020, came back before us in September of 2020, and then again in February of 2022, and it was denied those 3 times.
Are you currently working for the police department?
No, ma'am.
Do we have a motion?
Can I ask you a few questions?
Sure.
I'm sorry. Commissioner Cherry. Mr. Evans, could you kind of just explain to us some of your history in law enforcement and what you've done since this all happened, so we can kind of get a feel for
Yeah.
where you're coming from?
I've been in law enforcement. I was in law enforcement for 5 years prior to this incident. I was ARAD certified. I was on the SWAT team for the Fall Police Department at the time. Certificates long. After the incident, I worked several jobs. I managed a Verizon wireless store for about 2 years. Then I worked for a domestic violence shelter for about 1.5 years. And then my wife gave birth to our first son. That's when we decided to punch some numbers, stuff like that. And it actually made sense for our family at the time that I become what I like to call a domestic manager, which is basically a statement that we since gave birth in November to our second child, our little girl, who's now 3 months old. And so that's what I've been doing the last 2 years, is taking care of things at home.
Could you remind us what the circumstances were of this DUI, how that came about? This wasn't just you were out partying and
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah, definitely. I had been to a barbecue. I got a ride with a friend who took me to this barbecue. I can't remember what the occasion was now, but my friend took me home. I was at home by myself, and it was, I think, around 1 o'clock in the morning. My brother called me, who was in North Carolina at the time, and his wife was at home alone. She lives off of a dirt road, kind of back in the country by herself. They do. And somebody had knocked on the door and insisted on coming in the house and using the phone. And so they called me. And so I made the poor decision at the time, because I was under the influence of alcohol, to go myself in my vehicle instead of doing the obvious thing, which is just to call law enforcement. Once I got down there, I think her brother actually came and got her. And then on my way home, that's when the accident.
Chief, if I could just ask you, you understand what the circumstances were. You understand that this is something that's probably going to, or likely could come up if he's an officer in a DUI case. I mean, this is the kind of thing that defense attorneys love to jump on and cross-examine about. Are you comfortable with him representing your department?
I am, and I spoke with the district attorney before I ever proceeded into any of this. And the district attorney is very confident that he will be picked back in as a good law enforcement officer. And I also do. And like I said before, if I didn't think so, I would not be here.
Mr. Evans, can I ask you again one more time? I think this is something you've already addressed, but your drinking habits now, what are they?
I don't drink at all. And that goes along. This incident was a valuable lesson, but ever since I've had my children as well, I could never imagine being in a horrible situation where something had happened with my kids and I wasn't able to help. And alcohol doesn't provide the ability to be the functioning parent that I want to be.
With that, I will make a motion to approve this waiver. I know it's something we looked at before and it's been almost 7 years. 7 years is kind of a magic number. If you're a student of scripture, even if you're not, 7 years is a fairly long time. I would suggest that it's been long enough for this former officer to learn his lessons, serve our community. So I would make that motion.
Do we have a second?
Before we make a motion, Commissioner Carter, I just want to be clear. This incident occurred while you were not in law enforcement?
No, sir. I was in law enforcement at the time.
Okay, thank you.
And it's been 7 years, is that correct?
That's correct.
So you're no longer post-certified at all. All right, so we have a motion to approve this request. Do we have a second? Sounds like it dies lack of a second. Do we have another motion?
Commissioner Wright, I'll make a motion to deny.
Okay, we have a motion to deny. Do we have a second to that motion?
Commissioner Beverly, second.
We have a motion to disapprove and a second.
I would like, Commissioner Jeffers, I would like to note that I'll be abstaining from this vote because I personally know the chief of police, and unless something's changed, he's a resident of Scott County, so I'll be abstaining from that vote.
Thank you. All right, so let's have a vote in favor of the disapproval, signify by saying aye. All, any opposed?
No.
I think the ayes are more than the no, sorry. So it has been disapproved.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
For being here, Chief.
Kingston Springs Police Department requests a criminal waiver for Christopher Ryan Miller. In June of 2009, Mr. Miller was charged with domestic assault in Williamson County, Tennessee. In October of 2009, the charge was amended. Mr. Miller was convicted of reckless endangerment. Mr. Miller has since satisfied all court-ordered sentencing fines and fees.
Who's representing Kingston Springs?
I'm Eugene Ivy, the chief of Kingston Springs Police Department.
And please, who's with you?
Mr. Chris Mel.
All right, Chief, would you please tell us more about this incident?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here to ask for consideration for waiver. We would like to consider hiring Mr. Miller. And from the court documents and from what he's told me, a situation, he was young, getting married, and there had been an incident with his girlfriend at the time at a recreation center. And he was charged initially for domestic violence. That charge was amended to reckless endangerment. He satisfied all of the court requirements. Since then, he became a state Tennessee EMT in 2012. And in 2015, he became a state Tennessee paramedic. He's worked in our county. He grew up in our community. I've known him and his family, and I can tell you this is completely out of character for Mr. Miller. There's no other instance on his record. So I'd like to ask for a waiver for the criminal offense.
Any questions from the commissioners? Are you in a relationship with the same person?
We actually divorced in 2020. I was not married to her at the time. Ivy did say that, but it was our 1 year anniversary, and I showed up to surprise her with something and found something I didn't expect to find. And so I tried to leave the situation, and it just kind of went crazy from there. And I was arrested later that evening at my house. And when I mean crazy from there, I was in my vehicle trying to leave, and she was in the passenger side window, and we were kind of arguing, and I tried to roll up the window to try to remove myself from the situation, and she kind of then appeared to be angry. she tried to kind of lunge in the vehicle when I'm appearing to grab the keys, and I tried to stop her to get the keys. Never struck her with a closed fist, and it's just unfortunate that came to that. I was never questioned by anyone either from the police department.
Mr. Beverly, I guess it says in the warrant that she left the scene of the recreation center and went to the police department.
That's what that's what I found out actually when I went and got that. She had always told me, I later married this woman until then, but she had later told me that there was a witness in the parking lot that called the cops, and when they came to do domestic violence, that she didn't have a choice in the matter. I just found out that she went, actually, when I went to get this paperwork to be here.
And when did I guess for clarification, did you find out law enforcement was involved in this matter?
I went back home to my house after I left that parking lot, and they showed up to my residence that evening, telling me, asking me my name on the front door, and then told me I was under arrest for domestic violence.
Was she injured?
From the paperwork, it said she had potentially some form on her right cheek, but they never had any pictures, never anything like that. And I just took the advice of the public defender. I was 23 years old. I didn't have money to fight it or anything like that either. But no, to answer your question, ma'am, she was not injured.
Domestic violence calls are a very frequent call from law enforcement. So if you were to become a police officer, this is something you would have to confront on a regular basis. How do you feel about that?
I feel completely violent about that. I don't feel, in my situation, I don't exactly feel that. I think it was more just an unfortunate event, but I think I could handle it with the utmost professionalism and everything moving forward. It's been 15 years ago as well, so I feel very confident in that.
Chief, I assume since you're here that you don't have concerns about anger management or anything like that with this.
No, ma'am. Like I say, I've known Chris since he was very young and his family, and this is completely out of character. And according with the court documents and the fact that it got amended down, and he later on ended up marrying this young lady, I feel like, may have been a little less than, much less than domestic violence. And I think that's why I got very comfortable. Now, sir, he has worked in our county. He's been on domestic violence calls where there's been injuries as a paramedic. He holds himself professional in every aspect.
Other questions?
Commissioner Carter, I noticed you stated that you never hit her with a closed fist. Did you hit her at all?
No, sir. I was just stating that the paperwork said that she went to the police station and said that I had hit her with a closed fist. If I made contact with her at all, it was trying to stop her from taking the keys out of my vehicle. I would admit to anything trying to stop her from doing that, but I never tried to cause her harm in any way with any type of closed fist, anything like that at all.
You never put your hands on her or anything? You never touched her?
No, sir. With intent, absolutely not. When she lunged in the vehicle, I did try to stop her from getting my keys, but I did not with the intent trying to get her. So if she had any marks on her or anything at all, it was from her trying to lunge in to get the keys and me trying to stop her from grabbing the keys. If she had any marks on her at all.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Wright, how long after this incident, you said y'all got married and then divorced in 2020, I think you said. How long was y'all married in the time span?
We were together. That was actually our 1-year anniversary. We were together after court until 2020. We were married in right when I was in 2012. Whenever I got my EMT license.
So you were essentially married to her, physically, lawfully married for 8 years to her.
Yes, sir.
Any incidents during that 8 years?
No, sir.
Law or being called or anything?
No, sir. I've never been in trouble ever since that day.
Commissioner Wright, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
So we have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
The Lincoln County Sheriff's Office requested a criminal waiver for Odin Magnus Azer, hired February 16th, 2024. In August of 2010, he was charged with DUI in Rutherford County, Tennessee, pled guilty and was convicted of the charge. He's also since satisfied all court-ordered sentencing fines and fees.
Okay, you're hearing for Lincoln County Sheriff's Office.
Yes, ma'am.
Please.
I'm Lieutenant John McDonald with the Sheriff's Office and also Sheriff Joyce McConnell is with me.
All right, so tell us more about this waiver that you requested and why.
Yes, I was appointed by the Lincoln County Commission last August as interim sheriff. And shortly after that, Mr. Asir came to us and he was a correction officer and he had expressed an interest in being a patrol deputy. So in doing that and checking the background of Mr. Asir, we discovered that he had not had a waiver. At that time, because I was in the new administration, we wanted to be very transparent. So we did our own internal audit to see if there were others that had not had any waivers, at which time that we did. And so we're up here today to ask for your consideration for these officers for waivers.
We have questions.
Commissioner Jeffers, did the DUI involve a traffic accident?
No, sir.
Just yourself?
Yes, sir.
Could you tell me just a little bit about the arrest?
Yes, sir. I attended a engagement with a friend of mine and his soon-to-be wife. After the engagement party, I left. They took a look. I called a taxi. They weren't really showing up, so I made the poor decision to try and drive home. It's about a mile and a half away from the engagement. I was pulled over the second I left the parking lot. And I cooperated with all orders and pled guilty and paid all fines. My license was suspended but restricted. I had a restricted driver's license for work for 1 year. I attended 5 days at the Swain Center in lieu of any type of jail time. Blood alcohol content at the time was 0.11.
Questions?
Madam Chair, I want to recognize the sheriff for the work that she's done. I'm aware of her situation. She was appointed and took responsibility of doing a quote unquote inventory of all of her personnel and their records. And I'm aware that she had some employees, which she's now has on the dockets, but may have been employed or slipped through the internal system of Lincoln County's Department through corrections, where hires were made and maybe did not make it for hearings or waivers for TCI. And the sheriff, I commend her for stepping out and doing the right thing and exposing those incidents which may have just continued to go on without being properly heard. And that says a lot about this sheriff's character. I just want to commend her for that.
Okay, what I have in front of me says he was hired this month. Is that correct?
So, ma'am, he's currently a jail sergeant on the correction side. And the reason we put this month, this date is that this waiver is approved. He will then transition from a correction sergeant to a deputy sheriff position and hopefully attend the academy July 7th.
Other questions? Do you have a motion?
Move to approve.
Have a second.
I'll second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Sheriff, motion is granted. Do you have a second one?
Thank you.
Yes, the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office is requesting a military discharge waiver for Kermit Lewis Ross, hired January 1, 2024. In July of 2007, Mr. Ross was discharged from the U.S. Army with an under honorable conditions general discharge for misconduct.
So we'll do that. The same people appearing, except you had Mr. Ross with you. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So what was the misconduct?
Misconduct was felony drug test.
What exactly was the drug?
When I got back from Iraq, my second tour in Iraq, my wife, she had left me and took the kids. And, I went to a party, and at the time I was in a bad place, not just because of Iraq, but because of that. I was in 18 years, and my family was why I was in. I went to the party, and there was drugs there, and I did cocaine and ecstasy. And then that next Monday, they had a drug test.
Okay, so what are your habits now?
My habits now is just tobacco, chewing tobacco. Yes, ma'am.
Further questions from the commission? Would have a motion.
Commissioner Wright, Ms. Ross, thank you for your service. I'm sure that was a lot to come back to, especially after the wife and kids as well, thrown on top of that. Since this has been so long ago, I'm gonna make the motion to approve.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, and thank you for your service. Thank you, Sheriff. You have another one?
We have one more for a academy waiver. Thomas J. Dempsey.
Is that academy waiver in the consent agenda?
It is not. They're on page 6 of 13. Under waiver to attend another academy.
I'll make a motion to adjust the agenda to accommodate Lincoln County.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
The Lincoln County Sheriff's Office is requesting waiver to change academies for Thomas J. Dempsey, hired January 1, 2024. In October 2013, Mr. Dempsey attended the Cleveland State Law Enforcement Training Academy, but did not complete due to voluntarily withdrawing. Lincoln County Sheriff's Office is requesting this waiver so that he may attend the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy.
You have a motion?
I have a question.
Okay, sure.
Sure. What happened at Cleveland?
Nothing, sir. I just decided at that time I did not want that career. And later on, I joined the reserve at Lincoln County Sheriff's Department. For the last 6 years, I've been there and just really took a notion to be full-time. Loved every minute of it.
Do you feel like you're going to be dedicated to the citizens of Lincoln County and complete this academy?
Yes, sir. That's the
You're
only
not
thing.
going to let your sheriff down, are you?
No, sir.
Okay, because, you know, we have people of a certain generation these days that are wishy-washy.
Yes, sir.
And they put a lot of time and effort, and taxpayers invest a lot of money into you, and when you get up here, you need to tough it out and complete it,
Yes, sir.
because you might not get that third chance.
Yes, sir. Understand.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Commissioner Wright, second.
All right, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Sheriff, there you go.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
All right, the Murray County Sheriff's Office requests a criminal waiver for Bo Bradley Portwine, hired February 16, 2024. In September 2007, Mr. Portwine was charged with DUI in Bedford County, Tennessee. In December 2007, Mr. Portwine pled guilty, was convicted of the charge. Mr. Portwine has since satisfied all court-ordered sentencing fines and fees.
Yes, please identify yourself.
Lieutenant Brad Collins. I'm the training officer from Murray County representing Sheriff Bucky Rowland.
All right, thank you, Lieutenant. So tell us what else we probably need to know about this.
Well, he's very good, you know, and what he does for us, I mean, for working for the Sheriff's Department, he's in corrections. You know, I mean, he, from what I could look in the background, he actually pulled over that night, but you might want to ask him, but he pulled over that night and was parked, just so he wouldn't drive because he realized he wasn't in the condition to be driving, once he started driving. So when they stopped to check on him, to see his, well-being under a caretaking, you know, procedure, that he, was determined that he had been drinking. So they took him to jail for DUI, but he was not driving at the time. He was parked in a safe location. So they were just doing a caretaking, and they realized he was intoxicated and in control of the car.
This was in 2007, is that right?
Yes.
Yes. How old were you at the time?
22.
So have you had any more alcohol incidents since this situation?
No, ma'am.
And you're working in the corrections part of the Sheriff's Department now?
Yes,
How long have you been working?
3 years.
So, has his, evaluations been positive, Lieutenant?
Yes, very, very much so. I have a lot of people that, even the ones that are actually in the academy right now are rooting him on. So he has support from the three that I have in the academy at this time. Let's work with him.
Any other questions? Do we have a motion?
Commissioner Wright, make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Lieutenant.
Thank you all. Thank you.
The Metropolitan Nashville Police Department requests a military discharge waiver for Arash Alir. In May of 2023, he was discharged from the United States Navy Reserve with a general under honorable conditions, just discharge for unsatisfactory participation.
You're representing Metro Nashville PD?
I am. My name is James Rummage, and I supervise the background investigation section of the police department.
And who do you have with you?
This is Mr. Aliar.
Tell us what else we need to know.
He's currently a certified police officer in the state of California. He's been a police officer for over 4 years. We looked into what the circumstances were of his discharge from the military. He was currently working as a police officer, and because he, as part of his obligation to the Navy Reserves, had to perform weekend duty, he was a newer officer and also was scheduled to work on the weekends at his department. They had a policy to not pay officers unless they had accrued vacation time if they were performing their reserve duty. Because he was scheduled to work on weekends, it was causing a financial hardship for him to go to his Navy Reserve obligation and not get paid by the police department. So he then went down a path of trying to fix this by rescheduling reserve dates and then asking him to go to the inactive ready to reserve. Both of those requests were denied. And then he was advised by a lieutenant in his unit for another police department that he could accumulate a number of absences and they would release him from his obligation. And that's what he did. And then we got a additional letter verifying this was the circumstances that led to his discharge, and no otherwise negative action was taken against him for his time in Navy Reserves.
That's what they call unsatisfactory participation.
Right. He had to miss a certain amount of drill weekends before they would discharge him and move him into that status. Yes, ma'am.
Further questions?
I'm curious to hear General Cherry's thoughts on this, and I'm a little confused on why somebody's not recognizing somebody in the military department having these issues.
Well, in the reserves, typically, I don't, did you serve some prior service before you went into the reserves?
Me, sir?
No, Mr. Aliar, were you in the Navy before you went into the reserves, or did you go directly into the reserves?
No, I went directly into the reserves.
Okay. Either way, with the reserves, it's what typically happens is they'll go through the training and they're assigned to a unit. They go to the unit and they have to show up for weekend drills, and they have a couple of weeks during the summer that they go on annual training active duty. It's not unusual for folks in the reserves to miss drills for whatever reason. Sometimes it's work complex, family complex. Sometimes they just get tired of playing ball and don't want to show up anymore. They don't show up for a number of training events. They can be discharged for unsatisfactory participation. They can't prosecute them for AWOL or unauthorized absence because they're not on active duty to be able to actually leave their duty. They just don't show up for the reserve duty. So in reserves, it's not uncommon to see this kind of thing happen. A lot of times people will get other than honorable discharges. And in situations where they get general discharges under honorable conditions, that's indicative that there was at least some effort on their part to work with the system and meet their obligations, but they just weren't able to. With employers outside of the military, that's we oftentimes have had trouble working with civilian employers for people who want to serve in the reserve and then have to take time to go and when they're activated, they go overseas and lose their civilian opportunities. And there are court cases out there that deal with that kind of thing. But we can't really force an employer to grant leave and to make allowances. And so when there are conflicts, essentially the service member has to make a choice. Do I honor my commitment to, in this case, the Navy, or do I keep my job with the employer? This situation sounds like this gentleman chose to his commitment to the department he was working for, and so we got in trouble with the Navy. So that may be a little bit more than what you were looking for. So that kind of answer your.
I just want to make sure it was good in your eyes here.
Yeah, it's understandable. You know, you always hate to see people not keep their commitment to the military service, but sometimes there are hard choices.
Well, that being said, I'll make a motion to approve.
Commissioner Wright, say.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, there you go, Metro.
Murfreesboro Police Department requests a criminal waiver for Stephen Ellis Alstrom. In January of 2007, Mr. Alstrom was charged with driving while intoxicated, first offense in Gates, New York. In October of 2007, Mr. Alstrom pled guilty and was convicted of the charge. He's since satisfied all court-ordered sentencing fines and fees.
All right, please identify yourself.
Again,
Yes, I got you. Did you hear? No, okay, go ahead.
Good morning. I'm Josh Meredith. I'm the lieutenant over our field training and evaluation program for the police department. And we are asking for a waiver for Stephen Alstrom in this matter.
What else do you want us to know about this?
Just that throughout the process of hiring Mr. Alstrom, he has been very forthcoming with the information we've asked about this incident, as well as anything else. He is going to be honorably discharged from the Army on February 29th and a 10-year career. However, he is still going to continue to serve in the National Guard.
How old were you at the time of this arrest?
I was 22 years old, ma'am.
So it's been a while.
Yes, ma'am.
So you haven't had any other issues, is that correct?
No, ma'am.
As far as alcohol or driving under the influence,
No.
driving impaired?
No.
Any questions?
Commissioner Wright, can you tell us a little bit about the circumstances surrounding that arrest?
Yes, sir. 22 years old, young and dumb, just out with some friends for the night. Made a poor decision, had a few too many drinks, drove home, was pulled over not long after. There was no crash, no incident like that, no injuries. Was arrested, cooperative with the court, completed everything I needed to do. It was a little bit of a soul crusher because the summer before that, just completed my associate's degree in criminal justice. So it's always been my aspiration to be a law enforcement officer. So it kind of changed the trajectory of my life at the moment. Like I said, as Lieutenant Meredith said, then joined the Army and served 10 years, and here we are.
Commissioner Wright again, thank you for your service. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. All in favor of the motion to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Putnam County Sheriff's Office requests a military discharge waiver for Dustin Keith Cravens. In November of 1999, Mr. Cravens was discharged from the United States Air Force with a general under honorable conditions discharge for misconduct.
Yes, who's representing the Sheriff's Department?
Thank you, Madam Chairman, Commissioners. Bob Crabtree, I'm the Chief Deputy for the Putnam County Sheriff's Office. I'm here on behalf of Sheriff Eddie Ferris. I'm here with Dustin Cravens.
Right. So what was the nature of the misconduct?
I disobeyed an order from my commander. The order was to report to CC duty. It was a punishment for using inappropriate language with an NCO, and I just refused to go.
So they dismissed you from the Air Force?
Yes, ma'am. I was court-martialed.
So that was 1999.
Yes, ma'am.
Any questions?
Thank you. Just ask a question. This is Commissioner Sherry. So as a result of your disobedience, you were actually sent to a court martial, not Article 15, they took you right to.
Initially it was in Article 15. The Article 15 was from the inappropriate language. And part of my punishment for Article 15 was CC duty, which I refused to go to.
So you refused the correctional custody, is that what the CC was?
Yes, sir.
Just for the information of the commission, the correctional custody is a little more severe than just restriction of barracks. They basically put you in a barracks situation, and they have people that are almost like drill sergeants, and they kind of rag on.
So it's very similar to a basic training situation.
And the idea is to kind of rehabilitate the person and send them back to the unit. And sometimes it's not something that is unheard of for a member in correctional custody to refuse to play anymore out of frustration. It's not the most pleasant of circumstances. So upon your refusal to work with instructors at correctional custody, they chose to send you to a court martial.
Yes, sir.
Now, at the court martial, I take it that you were not given a punitive discharge. You were given some kind of punishment, and that's followed up by an administrative process. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So there are different kinds of discharges in the military services. There are punitive discharges that result from court martial, bad conduct discharge, or dishonorable discharge, for which we cannot grant a waiver. And then there are administrative discharges, which fall into three categories. There's an honorable discharge, which everybody wants to get. That's the best kind. It says your service was good, and you did everything you were supposed to do. There's also the general discharge under honorable conditions, which is not as good as an honorable discharge, but it means that something happened where you didn't rise to the level of warranty. Honorable discharge. We can grant a waiver for those. And there is also the general discharge under other than honorable conditions, which oftentimes results from this kind of a circumstance when somebody has been through a court martial and they're administratively separated. For whatever reason, in this case, apparently your service was good enough that the Air Force determined that you should have a general discharge and not an OTH, under the honorable discharge. And that is something that we can't grant it. So I hope that explanation helps. And if you have any questions of me about this process or what this all means, I'd be happy to field those questions.
Commissioner Ryan, if granted this waiver, Mr. Craig, you realize you're going to be kind of placed back in that environment again, going through the academy, correct?
Yes, sir.
Feel like you can handle it at this point in time?
Yes, sir. I feel like I joined the Air Force when I was too young. I needed to grow up a little bit. If I had waited several years before I joined, I think I would still be in the Air Force right now.
You do realize you're gonna get yelled at.
Yes, sir.
You're gonna get screamed at. You're gonna get told to do things. You might get told to clean a commode or something. Are you gonna be able to do that for the Sheriff's Department and Assistance Putnam County at this academy?
Yes, sir.
Because we have folks that it seems like when they show up here, they have a shock and awe, wasn't expecting this and that. But you're gonna get yelled at. I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna get yelled and screamed at. You're gonna get yelled and screamed at out on the streets if you make it through the academy. Are you prepared for that?
Yes, sir.
Well, I just want it noted today that you were put on notice.
Yes, sir.
Do we have a motion?
Commissioner Ryan, motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Commissioner Carter, second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tennessee State Parks requested a criminal waiver for Jordan Taylor Evans. In September of 2006, Mr. Evans was charged with underage possession of alcoholic beverages in Valdosta, Georgia. In December of 2006, Mr. Evans was convicted of the charge. He's since satisfied all court-ordered sentencing fines and fees.
All right, hello, how are y'all?
Good morning.
Please identify yourself.
Assistant Chief Ranger Brian Hagan, Tennessee State Parks. I have Mr. Jordan Evans here with me.
Right, so tell us what we need to know about this underage possession.
Yes, in 2006, around September, I was at Valdosta State University, and there was drinking going on in the dorms. Things just started getting rowdy. Some police showed up. I told the police, once they calmed everybody down there about to leave, I said, man, fuck those cops, and they got me, they arrested me.
So how old were you at the time?
I was 18, man.
I think it was the reverse of what you said to them, to you. All right, so, are you, confident that he's kind of got his anger management squared away and also his use of, any adult beverages?
Yes, ma'am. I think like a lot of young folks, he had some poor decision making. It's been quite a long time. So I think he's grown up and be a very good candidate for us to send the academy.
He's already suited up. What do you do for the state parks?
I'm a ranger at the moment. I just would like to add, since that time of the incident, I served in the Marine Corps on conditions. I worked for military contractors in Afghanistan. I worked for the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, and I also worked for the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation.
Commissioner Wright, thank you for your service you did for us in the country, and it's been so long ago too. There again, I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Beverly, second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Waiver to attend another academy. Atoka Police Department requests a waiver to change academies for Christopher William Bennett Jolly. Hired December 30th, 2023 and May of 2022. He attended the Shelby County Sheriff's Office Training Academy, but did not complete due to an injury. The police department is requesting the waiver so that he may attend the Memphis Police Department Training Academy in January 2024.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Was there someone here from the department?
Yes, Chief Anthony Rudolph. Morning, Commissioners.
Is he already in the academy?
He is at the academy now. He's actually online with us as we speak. We had a little miscommunication piece there with Post and did not realize that we were going to have to come to a pier. And I should have caught that, being the commander of the training academy myself for years. But it just was something that my captain was handling at the time. And once it became on our radar, we got with Post, and Post let us know that we needed to be before you. So that's why we're here.
Commissioner Wright, second.
All right, I'm sorry. What did you say?
I'll second, Sheriff Parkman.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Chattanooga State Community College Campus Police Department requests a waiver to change academies for Raymond Omar Ayala Castro, hired May 1st, 2023. In October of 2023, Mr. Ayala Castro attended the transition school at the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy, but did not complete due to failure to qualify in firearms. He is scheduled to attend the Cleveland State Law Enforcement Training Academy May of 2024.
Motion to approve.
Wait a second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
The Metropolitan Nashville Police Department requests a waiver to change academies for Michael Matthew Connor. In December of 2023, Mr. Connor attended the Tennessee Highway Patrol Training Academy, but did not complete due to voluntarily withdrawing. Metro Nashville Police Department is requesting the waiver so that he may attend their academy.
I'd like to make note that they are appearing. Please identify yourself for the record.
My name is James Rummage, and I supervise the background investigation section for the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department.
Is Mr. Connor with you?
It is.
So you think you're ready for the Metro Training Academy?
Absolutely, ma'am.
That's not easy.
Yes, ma'am.
She went through it herself.
I'm sorry.
I said she went through it herself.
Amen. So any other questions or motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Jeffers.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck to you, kiddo.
Thank you, ma'am.
The Portland Police Department requests a waiver to change academies for Kyle Anthony Bray, hired December 18th, 2023. In July of 2022, Mr. Bray attended the Walter State Law Enforcement Training Academy, but did not complete due to termination of employment. Portland Police Department is requesting the waiver so that he may attend Toledo.
And there's someone representing Portland Police Department.
Yes, ma'am. I'm Lieutenant Rick Ellis, Portland Police Department.
cooperate with me.
Lieutenant.
I'd like to know about this termination, Chairman. What was you terminated for?
I was terminated after going to the academy. I had to return due to COVID. I was told I was terminated. They did not want to retain my probationary period. And I rode to the academy with an officer from Montgomery County. That's what I was told.
You're going to have to run that by me again of why you were fired.
So when I went back to the academy for missing COVID, I rode to the academy with an officer that was in the academy with me. We rode together, went to the academy. We were 2 minutes late due to a gas issue. And I was told that's why I was terminated.
So Walter State reported back to your employee in the department at that time?
Correct.
Who was it you were working for?
Gallatin Police Department.
So the commanders of Walter State called back to Gallatin's commanders to let them know you were 2 minutes late?
Correct.
And you got terminated over that?
Correct.
But it sounds like you missed some because of COVID.
Yes, ma'am. In week 2, I had a roommate that slept below me. He came into the academy and tested positive on the Monday that we arrived. So the policy of Walter State stated that everybody in the room had to go home and quarantine. And then 2 weeks later, I got COVID as well.
Does that satisfy your questions?
Yes, Chairman.
Any other questions?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do you have a second?
Commissioner Wright, second.
I have a motion, a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sevier County Sheriff's Office requests a waiver to change academies for Lisa Geraldine Haslett, who was hired August 7th of 2023. In May of 2022, Ms. Haslett attended the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy, but did not complete due to failure of the obstacle course. Sevier County Sheriff's Office is requesting the waivers that she may attend the Walter State Law Enforcement Training Academy in April.
Anyone here from Sevier County or online?
Yes, ma'am. Sheriff Michael Hodges, Sevier County Sheriff, along with Officer Haslett.
Good morning, Sheriff.
Morning, ma'am.
Right. So, are you good to go, ma'am, to Walter State?
Yes, ma'am.
If I may, ma'am, Ms. Haslett attended TLETA, completed TLETA, but there was a 7-second discrepancy on the obstacle course. In all other forms and fashions, she was at 90 or above in all of her classwork. And to Director Kane's credit, said that she was revered by the cadre and by the students, the other recruits. And so at this point, Walter State is a better fit in the sense that it's a lot shorter drive and the academy's 3 weeks less. It would be less of a burden on myself and our department if we could let her attend that, please.
Are you good to go for the physical training?
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions?
Commissioner Wright, motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Commissioner Parker, second.
Have a motion to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners. We appreciate it.
Tellico Plains Police Department request a waiver to change academies for Caitlin Watson, hired January 1st, 2024. In March 2022, Ms. Watson attended the Knox County Regional Training Academy, but did not complete due to family obligations. Tellico Plains Police Department is requesting the waivers that she may attend Cleveland State Law Enforcement Training Academy in May of 2024.
Is Tellico Plains present or online?
Yes, ma'am, we are.
Please identify yourself.
My name is Jerry Miller, Detective Training Officer for the Tellico Plains Police Department. I'm also accompanied by Miss Watson, the cadet.
Okay. I know how difficult it is to try to get your life in order to go off to the academy. You feel like you're squared away now?
Yes, ma'am. I actually completed all 12 weeks in Knox County. I just had an injury. I had broken ribs and torn cartilage. at the same time, so I couldn't complete my final PT.
Motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Commissioner Wright, so.
All right, all in favor of the motion to approve, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no? All right, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Tennessee Highway Patrol, request waiver to change academies for DeAndre Matthews, hired for December 1st, 2023. In March of 2008, Mr. Matthews attended the Memphis Police Law Enforcement Training Academy, but did not complete due to academic failure. Tennessee Highway Patrol is requesting waivers that he may attend their academy.
Anyone present or online from the Tennessee Highway Patrol?
Good morning, Commission. This is Captain Shane Stafford. I'm the Director of Training for the Highway Patrol and Homeland Security.
Thank you, Captain. So is Mr. Matthews ready to go to the academy?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Martin, motion to approve.
Commissioner Wright, second.
All right, we have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. All right, motion carries. Thank you, Captain.
Thank you, Commission.
Waivers of in-service. Request for a waiver has been received from the following officers so they, as well as their departments, will remain in compliance with post guideline. They are not eligible for the 2023 salary supplement. First is the Clarksville Police Department. They're requesting waiver of in-service for Olivia Diane Carson, hired July 17th, 2023. Ms. Carson did not complete the required training for the 2023 calendar year due to an oversight by the agency. The waiver will allow both the agency and the officer to remain compliant with post guidelines.
We need to vote on these individually. So,
Yes.
all right, so is anyone here from Clarksville PD?
Yes, ma'am. Bo Skinner.
All right, anything else we need to add to this, or you want to add to the record?
Yes, ma'am. It's my fault. 100%. I was oblivious to this rule. No excuses. I thought her Alabama certification and then the attendance to the transitionary school would cover the in-service needs for this year. And that's 100% my fault. We overlooked it, but she's enrolled for in-service this year. So,
Any other questions or motion?
Commissioner Wright, motion to approve.
Do a second.
Commissioner
All right, we have a motion.
thank you.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you, Clarksville.
Thank you.
Collingwood Police Department, request waiver of in-service for the following officers who did not complete the required training for the 2023 calendar year due to the agency's in-service training having already concluded at the time of hire. So William Lufkin and Aaron Tiedemann.
Collierville, are you online or present?
Yes, ma'am. I'm online here.
Okay, please identify yourself.
Yes, I'm Lieutenant Josh Wheeler. I'm the training officer in the GDI for the Collierville Police Department.
All right, Lieutenant, anything else we need to know regarding these two members of your department?
Yes, ma'am. It's an oversight on my part. They were hired in mid to late July, and they both attended the transitional academy after that in 2023. One graduated in September and one in October of 23. And it was my fault. I didn't realize they needed the in-service on top of that with working less than 8 months of full-time service.
Okay, Lieutenant, you have them good to go for this year's in-service?
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions or motion?
Commissioner Wright, motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Mr. Jackson, second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Lieutenant.
Thank you, Commissioners.
And I'd like to point out, this is a common mistake that gets made because there's an exception for officers that complete basic, that they don't have to complete in-service in that same calendar year. And so because transition school is considered like a substitute basic training, a lot of the GDIs assume that going to transition school, they don't have to complete the in-service. And that's something I believe that we're looking at addressing and changing the rules so that they transition to basic.
I would like for us to address that in the rules, because if you're just fresh out of 3 weeks of transition, I don't see where you need to sit through another week of in-service.
If I had to speculate, It's probably because in the basic academy, the curriculum is outlined by our post rules. With our transition academies, it's only a requirement of 120 hours, and there's no guideline for curriculum. So it's probably, we know you're going to get the in-service requirements in basic. We're not for sure that you're going to get those mandates in the lateral academy. So if there's a guideline or something that we do to make sure that the in-service mandates are covered in transition school, that's probably something we can check those boxes quite easily.
Yeah, they're mandatory.
Yes, sir.
Things that need to be done.
Signal Mountain PD. They requested a waiver of in-service for Robert Charles Hahn Jr., hired November 13th, 2023. Mr. Hahn did not complete the required training for the 2023 calendar year due to the date of hire. The waiver will allow both the agency and the officer to remain in compliance with post guidelines.
Yes, please identify yourself for the record.
I'm Captain Scott O. I'm the GDI and second in command, Signal Mountain Police Department.
All right, thank you for being here, sir. Is there anything else you want to add to this?
Not really, man. We hired Officer Hahn. He was a retired New York City police officer. He did 28 years with them. Last 21 as a homicide detective in Manhattan. We hired him November 13th. 2 weeks later, he started the 120-hour transition academy. We had to do some administrative stuff during that time. We had to certify him in TASER, certify him in OC, teach him how to shoot a rifle. They didn't issue rifles to NYPD officers. And then he had to go back to New York twice during that time. Once his mother fell, broke her shoulder, and then the second time he'd go back and testify in a murder trial. So we just didn't have the time to get him through all that.
Are you having squared away for this year's in-service?
So yes, ma'am.
Motion to approve, Commissioner Parker.
Second.
Commissioner Wright, so, Madam Chair.
Yes.
You need the record to reflect I'm abstaining. Yes.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
The following departments are requesting a waiver of the 6-month rule to keep their officers in the department in compliance. Austin Peay State University Police Department requested a 6-month waiver from Matthew Andrew Campbell, hired September 24th, 2023. Mr. Campbell has been unable to attend training due to class availability. Mr. Campbell is scheduled to attend Toledo in March of 2024.
Anyone here online from Austin Peay State University?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Got a second?
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Brownsville Police Department requests a 6-month waiver for Serena Ann Dybel. Hired August 31st, 2023. Ms. Dybel was scheduled to attend the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy in January 2024, but was unable to begin training due to medical reasons. Ms. Dybel was scheduled to attend Toledo in March of 2024.
Commissioner Parker, motion to approve.
Do you have a second?
Commissioner Wright.
All right, all in favor of the motion, say aye. Any opposed? Brownsville, if you're listening or present, motion approved.
Carter County Sheriff's Office requests 2 6-month waivers for Charles James Whaley. Hired July 10th of 2023, Mr. Whaley was scheduled to attend transition at the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy, but was unable to begin training due to medical reasons. The agency is requesting the waiver until Mr. Whaley is medically cleared to begin training.
Commissioner Parker, make a motion to approve.
We have a second.
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. All right, motion carries. Carter County Sheriff's Office, if you're listening.
Covington Police Department requests a 6-month waiver for Gregory Allen Perry Jr., hired August 27th, 2023. Mr. Perry has been unable to begin training due to class availability. Mr. Perry is scheduled to attend training at the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy in March of 2024.
Martin, motion to approve.
Beverly, second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Covington, is that Covington?
Yes, ma'am.
Covington.
Northeast State Community College Police Department requests a 6-month waiver for Calvin Tyler Hinkle, hired October 16th of 2023. Mr. Hinkle is scheduled to attend the Walter State Regional Law Enforcement Training Academy, but is unable to begin training due to cost and class availability. The agency is requesting additional time to satisfy these requirements.
Martin, motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Wright, second.
All right, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed, no. Motion carries.
Sullivan County Sheriff's Office requests 6-month waivers for the following officers. Tyler Chase Brooks, hired on October 13th, 2023. Mr. Brooks is scheduled to attend Toledo, July of 2024. Nathaniel Graham Shannon, hired June 9th, 2023. Mr. Shannon is scheduled to attend Walter State, January 2024.
Barton, motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion's carried, Sullivan County. Consent agenda.
The consent agenda is all of our in-service waivers that meet our post rules and guidelines that, for in-service requirements. And we've just put them all together in one package, going to be approved in one motion.
Good job, Martin. Make a motion to approve all items attached therein of the consent agenda.
Commissioner Wright, second.
Okay, I will abstain on the one from Franklin Police Department, but all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries on the consent agenda items.
Old business, Millersville Police Department, permission to receive a follow-up report from our post investigator.
Post investigator Kevin Crave. In 2023, we had an investigation regarding the Millersville Police Department. It was recommended to come back and give an update of what's taken place since then. City Manager Avery and the police chief that was sworn in December of 2023 were supposed to be present for the January meeting. That was canceled because of weather. And since then, that city manager is no longer at that department, and the police chief is no longer at that police department. They were reached out to be here for this meeting, and they did not come to be present. Their ACADIS file shows they have 12 officers working full-time right now, and there's no major violations that we know of, and we have not received any formal complaints to the post commission.
Do we know who's in charge of the department?
I believe old police chief from Ridgetop, I believe his name is Morris. And I think he's got his pre-employment packet in last week, and he's on his third week now at Millersville.
Just stay in touch with them. I mean, I see them in the news a lot.
Yeah.
And now it's bled over to their fire department, it looks like. But let's do all we can to help them. I know they've got things going on with the mayor and the board and all, and then all up, uproar. But
I did reach out.
Make sure that the police chief, all this gets, that they're in coordination with what we need to have done so that we can help that city out.
Definitely. When the interim city manager took the position, I reached out to her, to Ms. Tobin, and informed her about her new police chief, because the first time I heard about it was in the news. That just make sure his pre-employment packet was in and everything was okay, which it is turned in. He is a certified officer and there's no issues with post on that.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
New business, agreed order of surrender on or about November 27th, 2023. Kendrick Damian Lee Lefwich informed the post commission that he would temporarily surrender his post certification for a period of 1 year. Mr. Lefwich was employed by the White County Sheriff's Office from June 14th of 2021 until his termination on October 31st of 2022 for providing false information during the investigation.
Is there anyone here from that department? Anyone present? So we need a motion on this, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. I believe this is just the proposed
Accept the
agreed order.
surrender.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Park, motion to approve.
We have a second to accept his surrender of his commission. Need a second.
Commissioner Wright, I got a question. Is this something that might need to go before the informal? Get looked deeper into about the false information and untruthfulness issues?
I don't recall if this one's gone through the informal and just kind of, it's been bound over for formal or not.
Double check.
Yeah.
For some reason or other, I was thinking we had.
I believe he's been before.
Yeah.
Check.
I just remember that name, but if there is a problem there, I will be happy to rescind my motion if you feel that, or any other board members, that we need to have some type of different arrangement with this.
I guess I'm a little stunned that they want to keep him because it's an integrity issue.
No, he's been terminated from the agency. This was just
But he wants
a
to,
proposed order.
he could come back and ask for to.
He had to go to transition school as well.
So he would have to come up before post to get reinstated after his period of suspension. But he did come before us for an informal hearing and he is pending a full commission.
So our motion is to approve the agreed surrender. Is that right?
Well, this would be a suspension. Looking to the body of the, I know with the agreed order to surrender, but really I guess it's really technically agreed order to temporarily suspend the certification period of 1 year.
Everybody understand? You're good with that explanation?
I've got a question. So what happens after the end of the year? Is he says certification automatically reinstated, or does he come back for commission?
He'd have to come back based on the lapse of time. It requires transition.
And the rules require that anybody coming back from a suspension come back before post to get reinstated. So he would have to come back before the board if he were to get hired by an agency to get his suspension reinstated.
So at that point, we could address the circumstances in terms of whether the grant him. I guess you have to have some kind of a waiver for the transition.
Correct.
Commissioner Wright, just the question to me would be, what if he was to cross the state line and go into a different agency there? What?
Doesn't these get entered into the national?
Yes, so any of the
requires-
suspensions or surrenders or decertification do get entered into the National Decertification Index. But all 50 states do not have the same regulations. So we could even decertify somebody here in Tennessee and they could go to another state and still potentially be employed because they don't necessarily follow our guidelines.
And I guess that's kind of my question. So if at the end of the year, would it fall out of the system totally then, because he would no longer be suspended in state Tennessee, suspending if he ever went back to law enforcement agency, whereas we went to full commission, we did decertify him one way or the other, then it would be there permanent.
Correct. It is there permanently. Just the terms of the suspension are entered in. So when they do a background and would run his name through the NDI, it would show that he was suspended from this period to this period.
Commissioner Cherry, I guess I'm just looking at this and wondering how is this advantageous to law enforcement in Tennessee for us to grant this suspension? How does this help us as opposed to making it more likely that this officer will kind of avoid the consequences of his deeds?
I'm going to rescind my motion, and I'm going to make another motion to disapprove this alleged agreement, and I'll let legal take it.
Commissioner Wright, second.
All right. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So where do we go to?
So just disapproved and he's still waiting for a formal hearing. So we just move forward with scheduling a formal hearing.
Very good.
I want to know the concerns of my fellow commissioners, because I can tell the questioning that this was not something they were possibly agreeable to.
Agreed order of surrender on or about December 27th, 2023. Brandon Keith Patterson informed the post commission that he would surrender his post certification. Mr. Patterson was employed by the Pikeville Police Department from October 2nd of 2021 until his termination on October 10th of 2022. Mr. Patterson was also briefly employed by the Grundy County Sheriff's Office. And if you'll remember, we had a report from our investigator. This is the gentleman that had the falsified high school diploma. That we moved to an informal, but he has decided to just go ahead and surrender and bypass the process.
Commissioner Wright, motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
All in favor of that motion?
I've got some discussion. I feel like we've got two potential cases of felony forgery with this matter, and I honestly feel like this needs to go to a formal for decertification and not a full surrender. And I think we need to take action.
The DA we've spoken with her, that at present they've got no intent on moving forward on this. Now that could change, but at least as of 2 months ago, it didn't appear to be an appetite. Just
And this is a agreed order to
To surrender.
To surrender.
certification.
Indefinitely.
Yeah.
So there are no conditions on this. It's
No,
just if
he's turning it in.
he certified him, it'd be the same result.
Correct.
Conceding.
So we have a motion to approve this and second.
And further discussion, if you don't mind, Chairman. Would our investigators have the authority to obtain warrants for a case like this?
No,
They don't have the statutory
that's correct.
authority.
Correct.
DA's not,
Yeah.
DA's not interested, so what do you do?
Well, I'll just say that for later
Don't do
date,
that.
but, yeah, but there is,
I believe the last time I spoke to the chief of high school, he had expressed some interest in maybe pursuing it, but I don't know if he did or not, so.
well, the reason I bring
On the
that,
same DA, so.
the reason I bring that up, even though this person is surrendering their law enforcement license, so to speak, what's to keep them from using that fraudulent certificate to obtain another job of another type of profession somewhere down the road? And more than likely probably will, whether it's in another state, because there's not a national database for fake high school diplomas. And some other group of people may run into a problem. That's the reason prosecution may need to be pushed forward somewhere. And I also want to bring to light that our post commission, something down the road, there's statutory things that they need to have the authority to prosecute and to sue, be able to run further with these investigations. That's just my opinion. Thank you.
Oh, all right, so we're ready for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
We also have an agreed order of suspension. Franklin Lewis DeRiggi was employed by the Mount Juliet Police Department from July 14, 2006 until his termination on August 9th of 2023 for multiple policy violations. Mr. DeRiggi agrees to the suspension of his post certification. I believe Mr. DeRiggi has some criminal matters pending, and he's agreeing to suspend his certification until all his matters are concluded and then come back before post to take up his matters with the commission in an informal hearing.
Was this a THP matter?
No, sir, he was employed with Mount Juliet.
Okay.
Commissioner Beverly, motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Annual Academy reports. The following academies request approval of their 2023 annual Academy reports: the Blount County Sheriff's Office, Chattanooga Police Department, Cleveland State Law Enforcement Training Academy, Metro Nashville PD, Tennessee Highway Patrol, Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy, and the Walter State Regional Law Enforcement Training Academy.
We have a motion to approve.
Commissioner Wright, motion to approve.
A second.
Second, Mr. Chair.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Carthage Police Department. Our Jordan Douglas Green was hired on July 1st, 2023. However, post did not receive the required paperwork until January 5th of 2024. Everything is entered and in compliance in the case at this time.
So he's good to go.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Carthage PD.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know. I wondered who you were.
My name is Britt Davis. I'm the chief of police in Carthage. Yes.
Welcome, Chief. So anything else we need to know about this? You've got your paperwork all squared away.
Yes, ma'am. It's an honest mistake. We hired him as a part-time person from another department in April. I took all this paperwork, entered it in at that point in time, listed indicated this as part-time, and then when we hired him full-time in July, simply just forgot. We just forgot to update status. So
Any
it's
questions?
my fault, 100%. Nobody else.
30 lashes, I'm sorry.
I apologize.
Anybody have a question for Chief?
Commissioner Wright, I second the motion.
Who made the motion? I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay, you made the motion, second, all right. Motion to approve in a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you, Chief.
Thanks, guys. Y'all have a good day. Appreciate it.
Claiborne County Sheriff's Office, post-commission to determine action for the late submission of in-service training for the 2023 calendar year. And a brief background, as we have moved our online salary supplement process into everybody has to do it online this year, we have greatly accelerated the processing and efficiency of getting through those packets. And so we're finding that folks are not turning in their stuff from last year, and it's slowing down the process of our salary supplement. So we had instituted a deadline in January, and anything that came in beyond that deadline needed to be approved by the commission before we could process last year's training this year to get their salary supplement processed and get them paid.
Is there someone present from Claiborne County?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, there you are. Please identify yourself for the record.
Good morning, Madam Chairman, members of the Tennessee Post Commission. My name is Lieutenant Brindle of the Claiborne County Sheriff's Office. I'm
Thank you, Lieutenant. Have you-
I'm
I'm
the
sorry.
general departmental instructor and for our agency.
Thank you for staying online. Have you sort of resolved this issue and you're good to go for this year?
Yes, ma'am. We have.
Don't have any questions for Lieutenant? Do we have a motion?
Motion, Commissioner Jeffrey.
Motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Commissioner Wright will second.
All right, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you, Lieutenant.
Thank you all so much.
Gibson Police Department. Jerry Dalton Morris was appointed interim chief on February 1st of 2023. However, post has not received the required pre-employment paperwork. Mr. Morris requires transition school to bring his certification active.
Please identify yourself, sir.
I'm Jerry Morris, Gibson Police Department.
Thank you for being here. And who do you have with you?
This is my Chris Howell.
All right, so tell us what we need to know on this.
In January of 2020, I retired from Gibson County Sheriff's Department with 30 years service. I started to work for the city of Gibson Police Department in February of 2020. At that time, the chief was Brad Harden. I submitted all my stuff to him. Since then, did my yearly in-service, and I thought he was submitting everything, but I found out in the middle part of last year when I contacted to try to take over the case, he had not submitted none of my stuff since 2020.
So, all right, I lost track. Somebody's needs transition certification. Is that right?
I haven't had a break in service, and I've actually worked since I retired from Sheriff Department and done my in-service. And I thought he was submitting everything for me, but he has submitted nothing. And he left in the last part of 2022.
All right, what's needed on this?
We sent an email on August 31st, October 23rd, and December 1st, requesting the following documents that have still not been turned into us. We need the results of his fingerprints and Identigo. We need the request to use his previous psychological and medical, and we need a background report signed by the mayor saying that they've done their background check when they appointed him as interim chief.
I've submitted everything. I've sent stuff to investigator Bruce. I sent stuff to him. I've sent stuff to Cassia Phillips.
Yes, sir. And the last email she sent you was there in December that we were still missing these documents, and then it was you were going to be on the agenda for January, which that meeting was canceled. So we're still waiting on those three things to be sent into us to finish processing your packet.
I thought that investigator Cardell had received everything.
Did you bring the hard copies or can you?
Yes, I do. I've got stuff in my file here.
Is that it?
Yeah, absolutely. We can get our staff to look at that real quick.
There's fingerprint.
Is everything in order? Let's see.
fingerprints, we don't have the results of the fingerprints.
Now, can we make a motion to just table this until next month? I mean, I'm sure that we're gonna get this straightened out. And just
Today, just to see if we got a.
I honestly thought that everything I had had been submitted when I started, but our previous chief submitted none of my stuff.
we totally understand your situation, sir. But did you have something, Bruce?
Yes, Investigator Cantrell. The only thing that was sent to me was a front and back copy of the fingerprint cards. And that was on January 4th.
And what did he produce today? Anything else?
Just the cards.
Just the cards.
Oh, the fingerprint cards.
Yeah, we actually have to have the result, you know, so showing that you don't have anything in your background, that you're nefarious.
Can we table this till next month and still be in good standing?
If you want, we can just report back to you that it's been resolved.
That would be great, doing it and be part of next month's consent agenda.
We can do that. Now we don't have to come all the way from West Tennessee just to show fingerprint results.
Yeah, and it looks like he's traveled with those items and get all that submitted. But I'll if we need that in form of motion, I'll make a motion to table this till next month, and then in between time, all this maybe be resolved and First Bello can report back, or it may be in the consent agenda and it's all resolved.
Do we have a second?
Commissioner Wright, I'll second that. If it's not resolved, then be back up here.
I would say probably so, yes.
Do you hear what we're saying? Do you understand what we're doing?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. All right, so all in favor of this motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no? All right, that passes. All right, so we'll look forward to receiving the information that staff needs, okay? All right. Thank
Thank you all.
Be careful going back.
Hancock County Sheriff's Office, Tristan Richard Petticord was hired in May of 2023. However, Post did not receive the required pre-employment paperwork until December 27th of 2023. We have since received all the paperwork and they are in compliance.
So a motion to approve,
Motion to approve.
the second.
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? Carries.
Jackson County Sheriff's Office, Israel Dakota Cuevas was hired December 15th, 2022. However, Post did not receive the required pre-employment paperwork until December 15th of 2023. We have since received all the paperwork and they are now in compliance.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no? Motion carries.
Lawrence County Sheriff's Office requests that the 2022 salary supplement be issued for Brian Jeffrey Dean. Hired April 22nd of 1996, Mr. Dean retired May 31st of 2022. However, he completed the required in-service training for the 22 calendar year, April of 2022, and retired. I think he was just left off of the salary supplement in an accident and wasn't caught until the new GDI came in and re-examined the paper.
So it's all good.
Yes, sir.
Everything's in order.
Motion to approve, pardon.
Second.
Second.
All right, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no? Motion carries.
Militon Police Department, Eric Stephen Austin, hired May 15th of 2017, was submitted for decertification and had an informal hearing. The recommendation was to have a formal hearing. The agency is now requesting to rescind the request.
Well, I will. So, I know I've seen, we've had this happen before. You just need to try to.
Commissioner Wright, can we have a little bit of background?
Yeah, we had an informal, we've already been through the process.
We had an informal
And
hearing
then we bounded over to have a formal.
and he's been pending a formal hearing for a couple of years now. In that interim, Mr. Austin went to go work for the Watertown Police Department. For that interim, resigned in good standing. I believe he has now moved out of state and is working as a law enforcement officer in Colorado.
I'm making that motion to deny. We're not, we're gonna make a motion. I'm making a motion to deny that request.
Arguing respect.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Anybody, how about a second? Anybody want to argue?
And I think they have a new chief, which is
I
another.
have a letter from the chief from Millington.
if that might help the commission have some context. This is from Chief Stokes. He's the new chief of police at Millington. He was supposed to be here at the January.
I think he may be here.
Chief Stokes?
Yes, ma'am. I'm here.
Oh, there he is. All right.
Brian Childress from GDI.
Do you want to read his letter or?
I can if that's sure. So Chief Stokes wrote this letter for the January meeting after reviewing the decertification file prepared on Eric Stephen Austin on or about January 20th of 2020 by Millington Police Department. Key witnesses in this matter are either deceased, no longer in the employ of the city of Millington. Due to these circumstances and the time which has passed since the application for decertification, the Millington Police Department no longer wishes to pursue decertification. We hope that Mr. Austin has learned from these situations and moves forward to be an asset to the law enforcement agency in the community service.
I want to ask, what was the nature of the decertification? Was it some
Policy violations, I believe.
That's where it's now. I wanted to bring that back because I wanted to make sure, you know, it wasn't something that's going to hurt another agency in another state down the road.
And I've spoken to Chief Stokes. I think his position is that he came into this and doesn't know.
Well, for all the more reason to let it go through the due process.
So yeah, he might have some to share.
Chief Stokes, are you there? I can't, you're behind me, I think. Okay, so can you tell us what policy violations were involved in this case?
So yeah, there were about 15 policy violations over about 18 months. They were obedience to orders. There was one in reference to a vehicle crash, neglect of duty, improper evidence handling, failure to report to duty, truthfulness, and failure to obey orders.
Truthfulness, okay. Ding, ding, ding.
I'm going to renew my motion to deny.
He's on there. I think the officer's there.
I thought somebody shaking their head. Was that Austin? Eric Stephen Austin, are you online?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. I hit the mute button.
Okay, so where are you a police officer now?
I'm a deputy sheriff in Archuleta County, Colorado.
I have any questions for him? All right, so you had a motion. I'm not sure we voted on this.
I've got a motion.
Okay, did someone second it? Did you hear the motion?
I second it.
Okay, you seconded it. I'm sorry. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. All right, the motion carries.
And that was to deny the request for rescission and to move forward with a formal hearing?
Yes.
Yes. And I will go on and add that whatever Millington has in their file or whatever, I mean, it needs to be presented. I mean, that's a long list.
15
items, and I mean, and very well could be vindicated of all this, but the process was started to begin with.
So the public comments, is that what's next?
Yes, ma'am. And if we don't have anybody to sign it in the public comment section,
Any other business?
that would be the
Do we need to discuss while we're still, about yesterday's off to how we proceed with the PSID numbers and people that haven't quite got that far?
Absolutely. So yesterday we had a situation that came up in the informal hearing where there was an agency requesting the decertification of an officer that had not yet gone to an academy or become certified. And so the question came up of how do we take away something that we have yet not given? Historically, in the past, we have always approached that from the avenue of we can deny future applications, certifications, and effectively ban somebody from becoming a certified officer in Tennessee. There was some discussion as to whether or not how that applies in the rules. And so we decided best to table that gentleman during the informal yesterday to have discussion because we have a couple of guys that are pending formal hearings that are kind of in the similar situations. So just that we can come to an agreement on how we're going to procedurally take care of those moving forward, and then we can take care of the gentleman from Wilson County, possibly before bringing him back, or depending on what you decide, whether you need to bring him back at all.
What action do we need to take?
Well, I'll let Dennis weigh in and kind of explain.
Well, I wasn't aware that we had folks like this, but when the guy, I believe it was Mr. Hawkins, had been let go, or he had terminated, or he resigned in lieu of termination. He did so though without certification. So generally those things come to us where they're already certified, and there's the officer falls into one of those 7 categories for misconduct or disciplinary action. While he didn't have certification. They had a PSID number, which we also found out that you can have a PSID number assigned to you, but not be certified. So it falls into this category where it appears that we don't really have any ability under the rules to do anything with these folks. And understand that the agencies haven't done the wrong thing. I mean, they just sort of follow the normal guidance, but we don't have any ability to do anything other than, I think, send it to the full commission, which that doesn't really resolve anything either ultimately. So I think my position is just kind of looking at the current state of our rules, unless something changes, that these folks would not come before the commission for a decertification before the informal committee that we hold on Thursdays. Again, unless I think General Sherry is sort of part of your comments yesterday that we don't really have the parent authority to do anything under the current rule structure. So
Couldn't you, all you would be doing is, since that number is issued at the time of employment, you're entered into CADIS, you're assigned that number. That number follows you in Tennessee law enforcement your entire career. Even though they're not been to the academy or post certified, there's nothing for the formal board to deal with. But could post not enter notes into a CADIS under that under that number, and you're over and done. And if they're hired at another agency somewhere, there'd be warning flags pop up under that number.
That was kind of the thinking, and we weren't encouraging posts to take a position one way or the other. It's more of a courtesy notification saying, hey, this potential applicant never crossed the threshold of a police academy, so it don't need a waiver for a new academy. It's if this person's PSID is indicated that the requesting agency is notified of their employment history, and then if they want to dig further, they can, but it's their house.
Would it be, is it okay for post to put into the CADIS section of notes to say contact post at time of pre-employment to?
Well, it would need to be something on our end that when those applications come in, because we just import those applications, they dump straight into a CADIS. So it's not something that the staff members are actually looking at each individual file while they're processing them. So it would have to be something would create some kind of flag to let our folks know, hey, you need to take one additional step and kind of just look. And that way, if somebody does call doing a background check, that you say you need to go
see that
agency and dig a little further.
Because the concern was someone does something in the training program, not even came to the police academy yet. Some results in termination, they go apply somewhere else. We're relying on the system to work and notify. There's a duplicate post ID, or saying, hey, you might want to be aware of what happened here if they haven't disclosed that.
Right. Hence the notes in the CADIS under that number.
While at the same time, like in the case of the gentleman yesterday, he did something that had the potential to result in a criminal arrest, but he's not been arrested. So do you flag somebody that hasn't had that yet? And so I guess we're trying to thread that needle of doing enough, but not so much that we're flagging somebody that doesn't need to be flagged, because that hasn't happened yet.
Well, that was what I was speaking of, just informing them of their employment history. Right. And then it's on the agency to take it a step further and do their due diligence, and they can decide what works best for their department. The post is just giving a notification saying, hey, you want to reach out to these folks before you make your decision. That's it.
So it's when we just need to be recognizing that this person has a PSID. Correct. That needs to be followed up on. Now, it seems really odd to me that somebody would get a PSID and not get certified because it seems like those two kind of go together. It probably does need to be something.
Right, and the only way they get issued a PSID is that an agency has submitted a pre-employment package, so that automatically generates a number. So that should tell you,
Well, it
hey,
could
somebody
be-
sent a packet in on this guy at some point.
And there could be an FTO status. I mean, there, waivers, we've done a bunch, 6 months, 8 months, year to get, before you get into the academy. So
But is there any administrative way to want to take that PSID out?
Well, I would leave it in. I would leave, your Jerry, my recommendation would be to leave it in because that is a tracking number attached to that name. So if this person does go to another agency and circumvents and tries to apply, it's going to pop, when that name, social security number pops up, it's going to pop up with that number and then the staff's going to go, oh, remember this?
Well, see, that's why I've got kind of an issue with this because, we're trying to basically catch something to him that's going to follow him that doesn't amount to a problem with his employment qualifications, and it doesn't amount to any other thing that would necessarily prohibit him from becoming a police officer. But we're still, kind of putting a stigma on it just because he
I
has
see what you're
this.
saying.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, he couldn't be Charles Manson, just didn't get caught. But he hasn't been convicted and he hasn't done anything that would.
But there was an agency that submitted for formal.
Yeah.
And that's where the employment history comes in. It's
Yeah.
just making sure that they're aware this person worked at this agency, and when they do their background check, they speak with them.
Yeah,
They make their own decision from there.
I would want that number still attached to that name, whether there's not any, I don't know nothing about the case, whether they're guilty or not guilty or did any violation, but evidently there was something enough that an agency submitted them to say, we want to go public with this.
It's Commissioner Wright, and I on the keeping the PSID number there, it would be, I think in my mind, a good way for a department to then go, okay, has this person even said anything to us about this? And that says a lot about their character themselves of just, did they disclose that they put lights in a personal vehicle before they ever and was almost charged? Did they come out and be truthful about that? If they didn't say that to the agency, me being a hiring agency, I might go, you know what else? Well, they might not be so truthful or might be hiding. That would be my thought, just to be used almost as judgment of character for the person. I guess you could say not whether they done something right or wrong. It's just, did you tell us about it? You were saying that this automatically dumps into there. When they send those in, it automatically dumps into a CADIS, but if my understanding is correctly, you could set a flag system so if that was dumped into a CADIS, that flag would pick it up and then just go, oh, there's something here. That would be y'all's way of catching that.
Right, and it could be something as simple as see previous employment history. And obviously the agency is going to know he must have done something because he has that PSID number, and our staff is going to let them know, hey, you submitted the wrong paperwork because we tried to put it in the system and it came back that he had a PSID number. And that should in itself raise a flag of, hey, wait a minute, you didn't tell us you had started this process with somebody else, because you're already in the system. So I think we can achieve what the commission wants without overstepping and just being, hey, there's an employment history here that you need to be, that he submitted a packet to us in the past.
But also I'll go with Commissioner Cherry on that, like I did yesterday on this particular, obviously every situation is going to dictate the different, there's not like a rubber stamp for all, here you go. Everything's going to have their own thing. But just like the individual that was here yesterday in question with the blue lights, he wound up, he owned up to it. The officer that made the stop used his discretion, or she, however the case may be, made their discretion, gave a verbal warning. Then 3 months since then, no charges were pending for a Class C misdemeanor for the blue light. Same as a speed ticket. So kind of there we are, so I mean, it's kind of like, you know, do I red flag the guy on the Class C misdemeanor the same as speed? Yeah, he could wind up being, I don't know, maybe something not. But then again, the guy may wind up being the best cop one of these days that ever hit the face of the planet. But I mean, I think it's one of those that I will agree with Commissioner Jerry. I think you do have to wind up treading lightly, you know, just be careful on what exactly you're flagging, not to totally can somebody from a future, you know, that may be.
Well, you can't, they're not, I mean, the person has not been certified and there's nothing for us to take away at all. But we all, in our department with ACADIS, when we have a change of status of an officer, there's notes that are put in. There's notes that are put into that. That never goes away. Right. Unless the people that entered them take so that's what I was saying. That's the only avenue you have. If you're not saying guilty or not guilty, but that number has had an issue within state government to this board. And it's been taken public and it needs to be recognized because there was nothing to hear.
There's information that we have that I feel like we have an obligation to make sure that any agency employing that person is aware of. And I agree, if it's something minor like that, let the agency make the decision. We're not taking a position of they're uncertifiable or we won't allow them to proceed. It's just saying, we are aware of this and we want you to have the tools at your discretion to make your informed decision. And you decide whether that's acceptable behavior for a department or not.
And where we at?
On any issue, not just the one yesterday.
Down the road, if this is a blue light in a private car issue, where we at 3 years down the road? And Little Rock, Arkansas calls and says this guy stopped a female on I-40. You know where I'm going with that?
Impersonating a police officer, so what do you-
Well,
He was a little overzealous in,
You put it in his car.
in getting employed by sheriff's department, I believe it was.
Yes, sir.
sometimes that's how that trend comes about.
If it's,
We need to take any action on this?
well, it's something that we wanted to discuss with the whole commission as it came up yesterday in the forum. And what we could do is over the next couple of weeks, look at a couple of different ways we could approach this and come back to you next month and show you how we would flag a file and what it would look like and whether that's agreeable.
And is
to you.
that something
So-
that needs to be addressed for future rules, or something that needs to be taken up in bill formation and sitting in the legislature?
I don't think it's something that needs to be addressed in the rules. The rules were pretty clear. I think it was just historically how we had looked at those in the past. And so it was just one of those that it kind of just like, wait a minute, this guy hasn't gone to an academy yet, where before we've heard those and.
Well, I just feel like we have a due process once it's reported to this board that we have records that there was a hearing said, there was conversation. Whether it was good or bad.
To just dispose of the case that we had yesterday, that we kind of left it there, that we would probably have that settled probably by today. I mean, I'd be willing to make a motion just for as generic a flagging system as possible. Just to screen those as they come through. Not necessarily labeled anything, just a generic term for it.
And I think that we can do that pretty easily without flagging or pointing or directing. I think it could just be something as simple as, hey, he's come through our pipeline before.
There's been an appearance before post commissioner or something
Or
like that.
you submit some kind of paperwork or something, and that should raise the flags of the agency to go, well, why has he been?
Because you have an assigned number.
Right.
So it means you've been employed by an agency somewhere.
Or a packet's been submitted at least. Yeah, absolutely. So that in itself should raise enough flags for an agency to go, well, who submitted a packet? Where do you work for? You know, so.
Commissioner Ryan, and I will put that in form of a motion, and would we also need to then include everybody that's kind of in that limbo to get them out of that status? I know we got some pending and that helped clean up that docket some as well, just.
Yeah, we could certainly go back and look through and see which ones that would fall in this category, and then just get with legal to send some kind of notification that this has been resolved.
Right, so you have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we do that. We just make as generic red flag as possible for these people that have PSID that do not have a certification. The ones that are in that status get that generic flag and be cleared from occupancy. I'll say.
We have a second. Everybody understand the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Any other business?
I don't know if this counts on business. This is my last meeting.
I was gonna suggest that we recognize you next meeting, and you have someone with you also.
Yes, this is my replacement, Lacey Wilbur. She's from the Attorney General's office. I recommend that she be on the informal hearing committee. That I just personally have always wanted to do that. I thought it was a good idea to have a lawyer, an additional lawyer involved in that. She's very bright. She's been with our office for a long time. So do a great job. She's a very nice person also, by the way. One of my favorite people in the office.
Welcome to her, and we will certainly miss you, and we greatly value and appreciate your years of service on the commission, your expertise. Your thoughts on different cases has been truly extremely valuable to all of us. So,
You know, I've had big disagreements with people about particular cases that have gone back and forth, but I have greatest admiration and respect for the people on this commission. It's been truly an honor.
well, job well done. Would anybody else like to say anything?
Yeah, I would just want to say, had the luxury of sitting in that front seat up there for just 3 years. And I really appreciate General Cherry's vision. I appreciate his opinions. And I know sometimes we voted against one another, but I've always cherished his opinions and his wealth of knowledge. And I'm whatever it is you're going to be doing, I hope you're not, I hope you're still going to be in the state attorney general's office.
I am retiring. I'm going to go home and.
Well, all right. Well, all I can say is congratulations and job well done. And thank you for your service, not only to the great state of Tennessee, but to the United States Marine Corps.
Anyone
It's gonna
else?
make me all teary eyed.
You still phone a friend every now and then. You got a question?
Your counsel and your passion for quality law enforcement means a great deal to all of us who have been in this business a long time. So thank you. And we have another new person. New to me anyway.
My name is Attorney Rebecca Maxley. I'm the new associate counsel for the Post Commission. And if I haven't met you, I'm happy to chat anytime.
Thank you for being here. Anyone else?
I just got here, but I appreciate what little bit of time I got to serve with you and enjoy the conversation.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Definitely.
Likewise for me, we serve one office building away from each other, and it's been a pleasure to get to know you and meet you, and your knowledge about military issues has been very valuable in a lot of cases. So thank you. It's great knowing you.
Enjoy your retirement, sir.
Like I stated to you earlier, you know, when I get older, I'm gonna miss you.
I think I'll remember how to drive this route for a while still.
Come on in, we'll buy you lunch next door.
All right. Yes, we are-
Motion to adjourn.
Yes, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.